see what resources are in their community, be linked up to anything they might need, whether it's a counselor or whether it's a support group or, anything that the community has. So just really a great supportive line for people to call to and get their needs met.
When did 988 launch?
July 16th.
July 16th. Okay. Did the old hotline number go away? For example, like if I have it as my, I don't know, maybe for example, I have it on, what's it called?
Like speed dial?
Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. Maybe I had the old number on speed dial. If I try and use that, will it go away? Will it still work?
Yes, it still works. The old number works as well as 988.
Okay. That old number, I don't know. It was too long, basically. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And that short number, we've already seen an increase. It does really bring to light, having something that's easy to remember. That's kind of how 911 started. The same thing is trying to get something that you can remember, you can tell a friend about, and you can pass that resource along. It's available 24/7. I think that's also a key too, because a lot of resources, it's hard to have manned 24/7. So to have something that someone can call regardless of the time, regardless of where they are, it's a nationwide thing. So you can be in California and you can still call 988. It's something that's going to travel with you. It's going to be available, and it's going to connect you, like Emily said, to those great resources you have in your community that you maybe don't even know about. Oftentimes, collecting all the information and getting to know your area is hard to do as a person, but as a company, as 988 has done, they've really made a great connection to those resources.
So obviously you are Memorial Behavioral Health. What does that have to do with 988?
So truly, it doesn't have a ton to do with 988 other than we have the colleagues who are employed working at that call center. So 988 is really a line that's ran by this company called Vibrant, right? So we are one of the chosen centers to have people answering that call for Vibrant. So while I say it has nothing to do with it, that's not altogether true either, right? So we are in the community. We know the resources. So when you are someone from the community with our area code, your call's coming to us at MBH, which is great because someone in Chicago doesn't know the resources the way that we at MBH know the resources in the surrounding counties and Sangamon County, right? So the great thing is you can call us. We'll get you linked up with the most appropriate place in your community if that's what you want. We can link you up with our resources or anyone else's around us. So
obviously 988 has to be staffed around the clock, I would imagine anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, we always, have to have that answering. And we also have a backup system through the state of Illinois, because sometimes there's an influx in calls. So they really thought through how to make that work, which is a little bit different from like other services like 911 that is done for each county. This backup system is able to back up multiple counties and multiple call centers in case there's an influx in calls. So that's, I think, been really helpful in starting. They also have a text option, and they're expanding that service as well. So definitely going to continue to grow, and we're going to see, I think, more supports and more services and more, media campaigns, more discussion. The pandemic has really brought to light the need for mental health support, substance abuse support, and 988 really feeds into that. It's connecting people. It's allowing it to be a service that can be someone who can just listen. So you can be confidential. Some people aren't very comfortable talking about, their names, or they don't want to share all that information. And I tell people that's okay. There is no requirement when you call. You don't have to share everything. Of course, if you share your area, we can, of course, get you more resources for your community. But it's also okay if you just want to call and remain anonymous and just talk to someone about a tough day, someone that's not your family, someone who's in your community that is going to be that listening ear, supportive, and just able to help you through something that could be a tough time.
Something you just mentioned, Cassie, how 988 can assist with substance abuse type stuff. Now, let me back up just a moment. I don't often feel like when discussing just in an overall sense that substance abuse and mental health often are discussed right hand in hand, even though oftentimes I know that they should be. I guess, how is 988 addressing that, or how can it address the substance abuse issues that someone might have?
So our counselors are trained to answer all kinds of calls, right? So we can definitely talk with someone about the difficulties they're having and help support them, and again, provide the resources in the community. So I don't know, other than that, do you have anything to add?
I think that knowing those resources, whatever that looks like for substance abuse, so that might be inpatient, that might be getting hooked up with an outpatient provider. So knowing what your availability are, and some of our counties have specific substance abuse programs that we can help link them to. And again, it's knowing what's available, and then just having that conversation. A lot of that, like you said, that comorbidity is often what it's called, substance abuse, mental health. It goes hand in hand a lot. So you want to treat the person, for their individual concerns, not just one issue here and one issue is a different number. So 988 is really combining the resources, just that skilled person who can talk regardless of what that issue is. In families, we get a lot of calls just to be like, hey, my friend is struggling. What should I do? Is there something I should, ask them or encourage them for? So you actually don't even have to be the person that's struggling to call in and get that support and really know how to address or maybe bring some more resources to that person. Those are difficult conversations. So, we do it every day where we have these conversations, but we know that we went to school and it's something that we're kind of used to doing. But, for a family member who's just like found out that maybe their loved one is struggling with depression, they don't know where to start. So 988 is a good place to start, and a good conversation you can have to get resources, get suggestions, and ways to support someone in the community and get them some additional help.
You alluded to it a little bit to start the segment about how the calls have kind of picked up a little bit, but is there a way you could quantify just how much that's picked up since the start in July 16th?
Since July 16th, truly the numbers have doubled, and that's been seen nationally as well as our local center. So they've jumped quite a bit.
Wow. What is, what do you feel, how do you feel like that is aiding in this fight to address mental health overall?
I think it's really positive. It's a positive trend. Over the last few years, I think, again, like the pandemic and just really bringing mental health as part of a conversation about your health and wellness is so important. So having that conversation with your family and saying, hey, have you heard of 988? Have you heard that this resource is available? I think we've gotten a lot of word of mouth and a lot of just people finding out from the news or things like that. But, they're going to continue to establish and to bring more information about how to utilize it and encourage more people to use that number. So, and I also like to mention schools have been really talking to students about 988. So that's some of what I've done as well, is done presentations for kids who have started this year. There is not an age limit. So if you're teen or, you have a middle schooler and you think that they might be struggling, that also is an avenue and a way to encourage that usage. And I hope that we continue to see those numbers increase, because we see that mental health is affecting a lot of us. 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 adults, I've heard both numbers recently, are struggling with mental illness. So, you think of what that looks like in your community or your family. That's a lot. That's a lot of individuals. So we want to make that part of our normal conversations. How are you really doing? How can I support you? Because we all have our ups and downs, and that needs to be more normalized.
Let me reintroduce you here. That's Project Director Cassie Delaney here, along with Regional Director Emily Legner. They're talking a little bit about the 988 crisis support line. Again, 988, which is replacing the old 866-273 talk number. Did I get that right? Was that what it was? 866-273 talk? That sounds right to me. We'll go with it. But the important thing is to dial 988 if you need any assistance with anything. crisis related. Gonna go ahead and take a short break. A reminder that Landmark of Taylorville is proud to bring you this stream on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com's Facebook or on WTIM TV YouTube. You'll always do better with Landmark. And People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first.
WTIM. The markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn higher, beans lower, wheat trading higher. September corn 675 up 6 1/4. December corn up 9 1/2, 673 3/4. March corn 679 up 9 1/4. September beans down 6 1/4, 15.99. November beans 14.46 1/2, down 14 3/4. January beans down 13 3/4. 14.51 3/4. September wheat 7.99 1/4, up 14 1/2. December wheat up 14 3/4, 8.20. September bean meal 4.86.90, up 8.80. September bean oil 70.48, down 34 cents. In the livestock market, September feeders 180.62, down $1.57. August live cattle 140.142, up 62 cents. And October lean hogs 91.60, up 95 cents. October crude oil 95.89, that's up 2.83. And I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network.
This is Jim Adcock with People's Bank and Trust, where customers have one business banker who understands their business and provides the right financial services to achieve their goals. Your business banker is your single source for all your financial needs, from cash management to lines of credit, from mortgages to equipment loans, and everything in between. Call me at 888-PBT-1954. Bank with People's Bank and Trust, so you can spend your time running your business, not explaining it. At People's Bank and Trust, we put people first. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
If you're 40 and over, you'll recognize these artists by their first names. Frank, Dean, Sammy, Andy, Nat, Diana, Michael. Well, here's the big news. You can now hear Central Illinois' largest music library with over 3,500 songs on air and online at 965thechill.com. Tune in on the FM dial in Christian County and on your computer or smartphone. Hear these great artists and many more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 965thechill.com.
Here's a great way to prevent early nursing home placement. Rent one of the catered care suites at Taylorville Estates Assisted Living, 705 South Houston. Stay independent longer by living in one of these short-term apartments that include meals, laundry, a therapy gym, and much more. And if you like it, Taylorville Estates Assisted Living has 1 and 2 bedroom apartments available for longer-term stays. Find out more. Stop by and ask for Administrator Tony Clark or call her at 824-2222. That's 824-2222. Encouraging independence, enriching lives.
The summer might be winding down, but there's still time to invite your family and friends over for a party. Southern Ledge Pools and Patios in Taylorville has all you need to keep your pool and patio guests entertained. Stop in now and get 10% off on delicious Wind and Willow cheese ball and appetizer mixes. And hot dips now available. Stock up on rubs, syrups, skinny mix, and more. Appointments filling up fast. Call now to schedule your pool closing. Your summer fun creator. Southern Ledge Pools and Patios in Taylorville. Shop in store or online.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Glad to have you along. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm here in studio with Memorial Behavioral Health Project Director Cassie Delaney and Regional Director Emily Legner here on the WTIM Morning Show. We're talking about the new crisis support line, 988. Briefly here, Cassie, if you could just give a overview of what 988 is again to catch those who might just be tuning in.
Sure. 988 is a 3-digit number that is a mental health resource. This is something that can help a family member, someone who's struggling with mental health, substance abuse, someone who needs connection to resources, and who wants to talk confidentially. It's really an access point to your local area services and can be that person 24/7, 365. You're never alone when there's a number that you can call and you can get some support anytime, anywhere.
Why 988? Specifically, why those numbers?
So they have done a lot of research and a lot of trial and error. And the previous number was a 1-800 number. So it was in times of crisis, it was difficult to remember that number if it wasn't in your phone or access it. So they did a lot of looking at what was easily memorable for those who were going to use that number. And they found that 88 was a really easy way, kind of piggybacks off the 911. They found that number sticks with people. So they really took that and decided that they were going to make that number. It's been in the process. So it's been since 2018, they've been working on getting this number live. So there's been a lot of work to make sure that we were ready to have that call volume that Emily was speaking about. We've seen that double increase of calls, and we continue to imagine that those calls are going to increase as more people start using it and more people hear about it. So it's definitely a good service that's here to stay.
Speaking of emergency services, when should someone call 988 and when should someone call 911?
So, we have talked a lot about this at Memorial, trying to help the community and our community providers figure out when to call where. And really, 988 is for, like we've been saying, someone who needs support, who just wants to talk to someone. You can call if you're having suicidal thoughts. You can call when you're just needing someone to talk to, or you're in what you see as a crisis. You can call anytime. Even if you call 988 and we're like, okay, hey, we need, a little more assistance, we can help you with that as well. So 988 is never wrong. I would say that you call 911 in a medical emergency. If you have done something to, you're in the process of taking your own life, making an attempt. If you need emergency services at your door right now, that's definitely when you would call 911.
Yes, I completely agree with Emily. And there's no call that's going to be turned away. If you call in and we think you need a higher level of care, we will work with you and those local emergency services. We have great connections with first responders and work very closely in the communities so that if we need to get you more support to your door, that is always available. We work with our mobile crisis teams as well. So there is a way to sometimes respond in person or to have a mental health assessment over the phone. So some of that can be also connected if that person needs that service. So they kind of try to point them in that right direction. Once they collect what's going on, they ask some basic questions. But like I said, with confidentiality, that information's not going anywhere. You can share whatever you're comfortable with, and then we can try to get you connected to that service that you may need, or to just be that person to listen.
That's Project Director Cassie Delaney, along with Regional Director Emily Legner, talking about the new crisis support line 988. Thank you both for coming on.
Thank you so much for having us.
This stream brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark.
WTIM